water, sewer, and sanitation rates. And you have a copy in there, what?
Yes,
What
you guys received, I gave you two. One to raise the extra water rates to $2.75 and one to raise it to $3, so we had something to work with. If you want me to change that, we can still, or you can make your motion for whatever you want it, and I can do up the resolution and have guys sign it tomorrow. But as a heads up, right now, our extra water usage is $2.50 per thousand, extra over the $8,000 gallons. With the 7% increase that Joint Powers is going to be asking, or that they are asking us to pay, for the fiscal year 2021 and 22, that rate is $2.57 per thousand. Okay, that means that if we leave our extra water usage at $2.50 per thousand, we're gonna lose 7 cents per thousand, if we leave it that way. If we raise it to $2.75, that'll help us out, and $3 will, for 1 year, and then $3 will help us out for at least a total of 4 years. Next fiscal year, 2022 to 23, if the regional water increases only 5%, that will end up being $2.70 per thousand. In 23-24, if they raise that another 5%, it will be up to $2.84. That 5% increase in 24-25, that will be $2.99. So if we raise the extra water usage to $2.75, that will help us out for 2 years. That's it. And that's still only assuming that Joint Powers will only raise it 5% also.
Any input on that, Jamie or Sean?
You know, Bert and I reviewed this today and I could figure out her equation. It clicked. You know, she's got proposals in there that if you do increase now to the high amount of $3, you're looking at 5 years, 4 budget cycles, before you may need to increase again with that 5%. The left side and the right side of the coin, do you do it now and not do it in the future? Or do you do it a little bit each year? Or do you do nothing and go in the hole? We've had option 3 before and we see where that gets us. I guess the only thing I think is with the instability of Joint Powers Board, you can only hope that it only increases 5% next year. And that it's passed along a 3 or 5% increase across the way, because you guys took more of an increase this year than what they went up, because their operating costs increased as well. So if you do it little, you're just gonna have to reassess it each year. You hear people grumble once, or you hear people grumble every year. I don't know. It's gotta be done one way or the other.
So that would be 50 cents a thousand over the 8,000 to go to $3.
Correct.
So
Which is pretty
the
substantial.
high-end users is the ones that's gonna get the 50 cents a thousand.
I think this is right where we were last year when we were having the rate, and I suggested that we go higher and, so that we didn't have the nickel and dime game going on. And now we are right back to that same point. And yes, probably I am one of the high-end users, and I'm like still saying, suck it to me, I would rather pay it and be done than nickel and dime every year.
I don't distinctly what you said, and I was, you hit the nail on the head. And we come here, we argue all the time. You've been at some of the last meetings where, and then you run down there and you have a $4,000 or $5,000 water meter and you have $1,000 to buy it. And that's where you end up with that. So,
And the point was brought up last year, well, there's fewer people, so there's more that have to, share in the cost in what we do here, so, I don't know. It's up to you.
I'm in the same spot, my husband likes to water the yard, so.
Oh, that's what that noise is on Saturday morning. Rock music playing.
yeah.
At least she didn't say anything about the hydroponics in the basement.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah, right. Shouldn't be talking about that in front of.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with how they raise beer,
They raise what?
but it's a nickel. When they raise it a nickel, then they raise it to people that consume beer a quarter. They never did fool around with that.
5%.
Yeah, that kept the old lights lit.
As far as what your budget reflects, the water fund for the town is stable. It's probably not where it needs to be, but you're not in the same boat as a couple of other organizations maybe that have to do this on an annual basis. Bert's numbers at 275 are more than sufficient to cover and to actually show an increase. I think she showed you those numbers as well, didn't she? But you did not. It would do an increase, but it's only a 18 cents increase per thousand, so 7,000 a year, maybe 6,800, something like that. It's not a big build, but that's what those little increases will do. Slowly build it, keep it afloat.
It's not up to Donna and I, it's up to you guys.
Mr. Mayor, you mentioned beer. Is there some beer being produced locally that we're not aware of? With personal interest? No? Okay.
Not beer, but moonshine.
It was up at the creek that year.
I feel if it gives us 4 years in the future, at $3 a gallon, instead of every year, having the same discussion, and no matter what, you can't please everyone. And the more money we have for a reserve in the future that can sustain itself, to me is more beneficial than raising it at 25 cents here, 30 cents there. That's how I feel. So the 50% increase to $3 from $2.50 is how I feel.
My only thought on this is, will the joint powers realize that we have some additional money put into our account so that they might use that as leverage to go ahead and increase rates even more?
I wouldn't feel so.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out.
One thing, and I don't know what we landed exactly, what that's gonna make with joint powers being 3 people on the board here, but joint, and I've said this a lot of times, I just wanna clarify this to everybody, that we're supposed to have around $75,000–80,000 in the bank. That was the agreement with the state when we did the water line. And that was the agreement that's used to have that. I don't know where we was last month, but I'm just gonna say less than 4. So.
On the joint powers board side.
Oh, joint powers.
Joint powers, yes.
Okay.
It's 4,000 now, it's supposed to be 75 to 80?
Yes. In case
Never
the pump, in
increased.
case a pump goes down or whatever, if something big happens, but you're not going to the state all the time asking for money. And that's where we get, that's where Don was saying, that's where we always go, well, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this. And of course, the water leaks and some of these things has brought that down, but anyway. We did quite a bit this year with, Joint Powers did with the meters and
Oh,
different
yeah, and you
things.
had just had two big expenses on the flow meters. I forget what it was, 3,000 feet.
And maintenance has got all our PRVs up pretty good shape. For the first time in a while.
Just a heads up too, that this would not take effect until July 1st.
Get a green quick,
I put in my drip system today, so.
Well, I'm gonna make my opinion, I feel $3 is a lot. I do, I'm on the opposite side of, there's several individuals out there that are struggling to get things done as it is, and I know this is on the extra side of it. I mean, the extra water usage type scenario, but I don't know how we can encourage. Thank goodness you have the means that you can do that and help us out and encourage us to have a great, better community. But that's not fortunate for everyone. And so, having that discussion every year or every 2 years keeps us mindful of where we're actually at. And so we're, but
The other
I
thing too
understand
is when
that-
somebody gets wind of the difference between the increase from Joint Powers and the increase from Midwest, crap's gonna
I
hit.
mean,
the
it's
proverbial
not
fan.
that it's not necessary. We do need,
You need a increase.
yes, we have to take the increase. Joint Powers has told us we have to do the increase. And we, just they passed it on to us from passing it on from regional, that's shipping our water out here. It's not, they didn't do that. But I just, that's my feelings on it. That doesn't mean I disagree with the
I think we
$3.
all agree with
I
that.
just,
On both sides of it.
Excuse me, point of information, is this a progressive increase? Is this only for an amount above your regular usage?
Your bill to you, Mike, comes to 8,000 gallons. And so
Right. So-
anything that you use over 8,000,
It's going to be,
$2.50.
so this would actually encourage frugality then? If you don't have the money, then you don't take a bath twice a day, 3 times a day.
It doesn't have anything to do, your 8,000 gallons covers everything that you need to do, and most people, the water in the evening and stuff, does a little bit of that.
But is this increase for anything above 8,000?
Yes.
8,000 or more.
yes.
Okay.
You're allotted 8,000 gallons a month.
But if
For
you
those
use more than,
individuals, those individuals that like to take pride in our community and make sure that they have, gardens, growing tomatoes and all that kind of stuff or whatever, that's who will be increasing that on.
Right.
Penalizing that, not penalizing per se, but
Yeah,
that's,
and most of those people are fixed incomes, and a lot of these people are of that age group.
but yes, they can have the
Keep their-
choice
keep their
not to
prices
have,
up.
they can
Green
have the
lawns.
choice not to. I mean-
I mow my lawn twice a year, cause if I water it, it's gonna keep growing, and then I get letters from my neighbor that are kinda telling me they're gonna lock me up. Wasn't that it? You were gonna lock me up or something in 3 days, and I was leaving the next day? Yeah. So you have to choose.
Again, I can see the direction.
I see both sides.
I just don't know. It'd be nice, council wouldn't have to go, wouldn't have to visit it for 4 years. I don't know how many of us will be sitting here in 4 years.
Mayor, could you share with us what's in the water reserve account, so maybe the public knows where we sit
Thank you, Cheyenne.
on the Midwest side of, we know how Joint Powers sits, but where does Midwest sit? There's water reserve.
Yeah.
Oh, our water reserve.
Bert,
Please, Bert.
He said mayor, so I was.
I was looking at you.
I know, that's what. Our our water reserve right now is $116,580. Our sewer reserve is at $54,643.
So we may look at that as 46,000 more than what's statutorily required or recommended. But it doesn't go very far at $6,000, $4,000 a pop. I mean, we've had a
Every time,
fortunate.
yep,
We have,
Yeah.
we have been good on
have a
that,
saddle or
yes,
every time
yes.
you,
Yes, we have.
The extra
That's
water
good.
usage actually goes into the general water and sewer budget though. So,
Well, could you do it on 2 years if you don't do it on 4?
if you do it once,
We're-
$275, that will last for 2
Yeah.
years.
That's where we probably, I can see that's where everybody's wanting to go.
that's right. He was ready for it more,
Yep.
so. I'm not
So,
sure.
No, I see both
Yeah,
sides.
see,
100%.
I think that's where the happy medium's gonna be.
Well, that's
How many
10%, so
times-
you're only t-
Is there a meeting that doesn't go by that we do not talk about the water?
so
There
you're
is
only
not.
talking on Extra Street.
You're gonna have to talk about it next year again too, because of the 5% increase from regional anyway.
That's who's gonna raise every year, 5%.
I think
So
we
Rick,
aren't
do you have
trained enough
anything
for
that
the
shows
French
where
ones.
if they used 12,000 gallons versus their 8, what that would, is that what you showed them? It would look, if we paid what we're paying now, your bill would be this. If we raise it to the $3
Be
and
$10.
you use 12,000,
Your bill would be $10 more,
$10.
$250, $1,000. If you use
That
10,
is-
if you use 10,000 or 12, you said 12,
I said 12,
so it'd be $10, which
so
is,
$10 extra dollars
yep, for 4,000 gallons of water.
if you made it the 3.
No, we made it 250.
If you made it
So
the
it's
3.
It's
It's
275.
250 right now.
It's
It's
right
making
now.
it
If you
275.
did 275, it'd be $10 extra dollars.
So it'd be $12 if it was went to 3 and then whatever. I don't remember what, do you know, Donna, you know how many, what your water bill is on, gallons? I don't know, as I pay that much attention to it.
Shit, Bert
I
can
think it
tell you-
depends on
which
if
property?
John sticks around.
Bert can tell you to the drop,
Yeah.
ours is.
But I just had the water turned back on this month for, Wilson and for, Watson. And, so I haven't used very much at Watson yet at all. So it would probably be your minimum basic amount this month, but, I have watered on Wilson, both my park and the garden. And I have started watering our house, so we might be going over on the house, but I'm not sure that we're still going over on, the Wilson properties.
I can tell you that if we water normally on the 2 lots, about 2 or 3 times a week, we're at about 14,000 extra a month. But if a tractor gets stuck in the hole the dog dug, and it shoots and floods the alley, we're at 8,000 a night.
Or tractor, moving tractor.
That's when we're investing in our community.
Who dug this one?
By saying that, Carla, are you gonna make a motion that we raise that to 275 or not?
Yeah, really, come on, you're getting worse here.
No, I don't know what Mandy's looking at, and that's already,
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I was kinda thinking 285, just because we have 3 years until our next round of elections. We don't know what changes we're gonna see over the next 3 years.
Is that a motion?
I don't know. We're still discussing, so.
And yes, 3 years in 3 years, at 5% increase from regional water would be at $2.84.
I move to accept resolution 2021-3, a resolution amending the cost of the town of Midwest and Trona County, Wyoming, water, sewer, and sanitation rates with the extra water rate increase to $2.85 per 1,000 gallons.
A second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried.
All right, thank you.
I might have to go collect the aluminum cans.
I'm gonna read an extra tire offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First reading of ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance of the town of Midwest amending ordinance 2014-01 concerning liquor licenses and alcoholic beverages. And these are all changes from the state, that the state's passed on. There, move forward. That'd be first reading.
I move to accept the first reading of ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance of the town of Midwest amending ordinances 2014-01 concerning liquor licenses and alcohol beverages.
I'll second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried, thank you. Okay, last but not least, we have a resolution. This is resolution 2021-4, a resolution supporting placing a proposition for imposing of a 1% specific purpose excise tax in Trona County, state of Wyoming, for the purpose of funding specific projects on the ballot for consideration by the voters at a special election to be held in Trona County on November 2nd, 2021. So this is gonna be two things. This is gonna go on the ballot in Trona County, and there's gonna be two things on that ballot. And it's to help us get the money from the water tank to the Naval Reserve, of the cost of $2 million. It was originally 12, and it's got, we've whittled it down to where we need 2 more from, what was the total, Jamie?
6 million total.
6 million total, so. So I'll go up to the Trona people in Trona County. The second thing on that is the Midwest Avenue in Casper, Wyoming. It's gonna be 2.5 million. So that'll go up, and it should take just a little shy of 6 months to pay for those projects. And I'm convinced that they're gonna pay for those and drop that. It'll go off and prove to everybody that once you have a tax, it can go off. And I'm confident that they're gonna do this. And we should feel really fortunate that all the cities in Casper that are helping support us on this.
On that remark, Mr. Mayor, we did receive an email reply from Mayor Patrick Ford of Barnum indicating that they first saw it to be a good idea, support it, and they will be being discussed at their next regular council meeting in June. Also spoke to a council member of the Evansville Town Council who agreed they have consensusly all felt it's a matter worth addressing, and just encouraged us to remember the support when it comes to their turn.
Yes.
So it's been publicly noted at the Joint Powers meeting that that is where we would stand as a board.
I do wanna take guys voice this at the Joint Powers. Special election you have to pay for. It runs around $80,000. If that fails, that money isn't there, and the communities have to pitch in to pay for it. So, by saying that, that would be, I'm guessing, I'm not exactly sure on that, it would be around 6,000 to Midwest, around 6,000 to Edgerton, and up more to the commissioners, county commissioners and the towns. So, what we gotta think about, I think it's something that we should put in, whether it's in joint powers or here. It should be start being in the budget to start putting money into that. Because in 4 years, if Casper comes and, or let's say Evansville comes and they're wanting whatever their deal is, but they don't have the money, I would sure hope that we support them. And if it fails, just out of the blue, we could have to pay $6,000 because Mills wanted, or Mills or Evansville, Barnum, any of our neighbor communities in Trumbull County wanted something and it didn't go. So I think it's something that we ought to really look at budgeting and having $6,000 put away approximately in 4 years.
We can probably do that with the, rollover funds. Something to think about at the end of the year when we decide to roll some money over.
So, and by saying all this too, when it comes time, and times are tough, we're gonna have to step up and help other people and remember what, you know, what they've done for us, okay?
I move to accept resolution 2021-4, resolution supporting placing a proposition for imposition of a 1% specific purchase excise tax in Natrona County, state of Wyoming, for the purpose of funding specific projects on the ballot for consideration by the voters at a special election to be held in Natrona County on November 2nd, 2021.
I'll second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried, thank you. Do you like, work now?
Yep.
Down to public comment. Don, I know you're waiting.
Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, so on my community, tire project, I have taken 49 tires out of this community into Casper and recycled them. And I have 21 on my trailer to take in tomorrow, 21 more. And I have been notified by 2 people, or contacted by 2 different people who have some tires that they would like me to pick up, but I have to empty this trailer load first before I get the other one. So I'm getting closer to my 100 tire goal. And a gentleman that was at my house today informed me that he had 27 tires down at the horse corral. And anyway, he's going to see about getting the rims taken off, those that need to be taken off. And I told him to let me know when he was ready and I would take them in also. And so that's where I'm at with that. I'll continue doing it as long as people contact me. I had said I would be done by the end of May, and I think I will have my 100 tires by the end of May without any, you know, but that's 100 less that we have laying around here in town.
Donna, we appreciate
And-
everything you do.
So
And those
anyway,
27 tires at the horse corral?
27 tires, he said, at the horse corral. Yeah, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah.
You know, but another gentleman told me,
They were probably on a tin roof at one time, at least parts of them were.
yeah, he told me, yeah, could be, I don't know, I didn't ask him the circumstances on why he had them down there. Another gentleman told me that they're dumping them over in the building at the rodeo grounds over there. And so it's like, okay, I can't go to Edgerton and take all the tires out of Edgerton. I just can't do that. But I am willing to help my community here get them done. And the other thing I wanted to say beyond that is the plaques that we're getting for the things are ready for pickup. But the lady called me the other day and said that, they were gonna be $129 for the 3 of them now instead of $97. That she looked at the wrong pricing.
Just so you know, the tax exempt form has been faxed to them and they have already been paid for.
The plaques have already been paid.
Yeah, I just gave her a card over the phone.
Okay, thank you, because I was just gonna go in and pay for them, and then, maybe or maybe not submit the bill.
She
Oh,
loses
shoot,
receipts
let me
like
take
me.
it back.
Yeah, that's 20 tires,
So-
you're all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, would you please bring me the receipt when you get?
I sure will,
Thank you.
I sure will.
Appreciate that.
And there's a possibility of a new person who has expressed an interest to be on the zoning and planning
Nice.
board too.
Who would that be?
Just skinny.
Yeah, we never accept your resignation, so you know.
Baby, I'll stick it on.
Carl Dickerson
All right.
has put his name, or saying he's a, right?
Like two, huh?
Yeah, what the hell? You got nothing going.
Would you really be?
Two, how many meetings a month? 1 or 2?
Two.
What day?
Unless there's not anything going on.
What days?
First and third Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes.
Where?
Sometimes in the yard out there, and most likely in here.
Yeah, just, go ahead.
Depending on the sunshine and mosquitoes we hang out out there.
If I start working evenings, I won't be able to, but.
At his house where he's serving the refreshments.
I may not survive, so I'm serving refreshments.
Sounds like he's got plenty of water.
What's that?
Mike and Carl Dickerson to
So
zoning and planning.
They are gonna get their,
They are going to
this
do
is
that?
hearsay, or we're gonna do this?
Well, I'm here, right, so I guess I'm
He
saying.
came,
Okay.
we might wanna hold off on Carl just yet. There might be a conflict of interest that we would have concerning some other property. His father's property. And, I don't know, you know, but he just said that Hope had asked him and has been talking to him, and then he came to me and said that he was throwing in his hat to be on, our board.
That's what he told me last night.
Pardon?
That's what he told me last night. He threw his hat in to be on the board.
I don't see that being any kind of a conflict myself. It doesn't matter whether you're on there or who it is. What's that?
A letter of interest, whether they
Yeah.
want to be.
That, we'll put letters of interest in, and at the next meeting,
You have to put a letter in.
Just put a letter of interest.
so it's legal, then we'll put it
And I
in.
gotta.
And then they'll appoint.
And then there was one other thing, I was gonna take the tires out of the house across the street, the garages across the street. And there's been, a back and forth on who owns the property and who didn't own the property and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I checked with Mrs. Huggins, and Mrs. Huggins said that they sold the property to Freeman Mix. And, he's not in the area apparently. I called the county treasurer's office, and they told me that a man named Sid DeFari from Mills has had the tax deed to the property since 2017, he paid the 2016 property, and as of August 24th this year, they would be able to, apply for, tax deed to the property. And so that's where we're at with that, you know. Yes.
I have just a couple of things. First
Okay.
of all, I like this much better than just the whole, the line. I like to be able to see all the faces, and I like that, so, what that's worth. Secondly, just to remind everybody that we are opening the rec center again next week on Friday. Very excited about that. It's been closed for a long time. We're gonna have a kickoff with a spaghetti dinner. You can have spaghetti, salad, and a piece of garlic toast for $5. We're doing it straight across the board, one plate, but thought that it would work out with Seth may eat a little more than this little girl, but it'll all work out. $5 to help us celebrate opening the doors.
Can you
So-
buy a second plate? Cause one's not enough.
You could buy a second
I'll
plate.
buy
Well, yes, please.
Help me in.
So we're doing that, and during that evening, we're, drawing the winners off of our calendar sales. We sold 11 calendars, well, 7 calendars total. We have 2 calendars that have 2 weeks total that are still trying to be filled. But I think we've done really well on that so far, so it's a good deal. And we wrote a letter to the county commissioners requesting, funding, so we'll see how that goes. We reminded them that we're, on this end of Natrona County. They've been good in the past, but we'll see how it works.
Yeah, they was good about supporting that. I don't remember how many dollars the commissioners put in. Do you remember, Darrell? It was quite a bit.
Yeah, and then
It was a lot to
Just
build the,
to build it.
this.
When we built
And
it.
they've supported us
Yeah.
for years with our pool wages.
Yeah.
What gets us is they, they grant us so much money and then the pool goes down and is down for 3 months or 4 months or 8 months and we have no control over that and then the money just sits there. So that is part of our request is to say, hey, if that does happen, can we use that money for rec wages or insurance or whatever, so. And Jamie has volunteered to call and see if we can maybe get some cheaper insurance, so. We're rolling, we're excited.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Jamie D back there? No. Okay. Hearing no other public comment, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I would adjourn.
Okay, will you all please just stay seated, because I have a
Hold on a second here.
presentation.
You have a second?